Welcome to Project U 2.2, the podcast where life and leadership meet endurance. I'm Greg Helmer, joined by my wife and partner in life and work, Carrie. Each week, we dive deep into the mindset, the neuroscience, and the real grit it takes to stop drifting and start living with clarity, confidence, and endurance. This is about real life, real struggles, and real growth. So lace up, it's time to live with endurance. On Wednesday, Carrie asked a question that probably stopped you in your tracks. If your life were a wheel, how smoothly would it roll? She painted the picture of the wheel of life. 8 different slices, 8 areas that make up the circle of who we are. And those 8: finances, relationships, career, health, personal growth, fun, spiritual life, and our environment. And Carrie challenged us to imagine putting pegs in each of those slices, like a cribbage board. If the pegs are balanced, that wheel rolls. If one peg is out of line, the wheel will wobble. Now here's where I want to take you today. It's not enough to just notice the wobble. We've got to actually turn the wheel. And that's where endurance comes in. Let's get real for a minute, because these aren't just concepts, they are daily life. Maybe for you, it's finances. You work hard, you earn a paycheck, but at the end of the month, you're still saying, where in the hell did all the money go? Maybe it's relationships. Your calendar is packed with meetings, games, practices, obligations. But when your head hits the pillow at night, you realize you never had a real conversation with your spouse or your kids or those who matter most. Hey, maybe it's your career. You're climbing that ladder, earning those titles, getting the promotions, but deep down you wonder, is the view from the top even worth it? Or maybe it's your health. You've got enough energy to push through everyone else's needs, but when it comes to your own body, your own fitness, and your own nutrition, there's nothing left. Maybe it's your personal growth. You've poured yourself into helping others learn and grow, but you can't even remember the last book you read. Or maybe it's fun and recreation. Somebody asks, what do you do for fun? And you don't even have an answer anymore. Well, how about your spiritual life? You want to feel grounded, but faith has become a box you check when there is time. And honestly, there's never time. Or maybe it's your environment. You walk into your office or your kitchen or even your bedroom, and instead of peace, you feel stress. There's clutter, noise, unfinished projects. The space itself is draining you before the day even starts. So here's the truth. Every one of us has felt at least one of those. That's the wobble. That's the flat spot on the wheel. In my book, Lead with Endurance, I shared something I've leaned in and have dealt with for many, many years. It's a simple process. It's called 3LQ. Listen, look, learn, and question. 3LQ. It started as a leadership tool. When something fell off in my school or my district, instead of rushing to fix it, I'd slow down. I would listen. I would look closely. I would learn what was really happening. And then I would ask questions. But here's what I've realized. This isn't just a leadership tool. It's a life tool. So when your wheel wobbles, most of us just push harder. We grind. We think if we go faster, we'll smooth it out. But endurance doesn't come from ignoring the signals. Endurance comes from listening to them. The ache in your chest when you walk up the stairs, that's a signal. That distance growing in your marriage, that's a signal. That stress you feel every time you open your baking app, that's a signal. 3LQ is how you notice the wobble before the whole wheel breaks down. And here's why this matters. Your brain runs on what's called attentional bias. We see what we focus on. If you only focus on work, you'll miss the health wobble until it becomes a crisis. If you only focus on finances, you might miss the relational drift until the divorce papers hit the table. You see, 3LQ rewires your focus. It helps you notice before it's too late. Once you notice the wobble, the temptation is to overhaul everything at once. This Monday, I'm changing my diet. I'm going to run 5 miles. I'm going to begin reading 30 minutes a day. I'm going to schedule a date night with my spouse, and I'm going to set up a budget. Well, you and I both know how that story ends. 2 weeks later, nothing sticks. That's why in Lead with Endurance, I talk about improvement cycles. Endurance isn't built in leaps. Endurance is built in steady, repeated adjustments. Check the wheel, make one adjustment. Roll forward, recheck, adjust again. It's the same process I've used in leadership, in training, and in my own life. And it's the only process that truly lasts. And here's the science. Dopamine fires when you finish something. Not when you fantasize about it. Those micro wins release energy that fuels the next step. And cortisol spikes when imbalance lingers. Your body literally reads it as a threat. That's why long-term imbalance feels heavier and heavier over time. And here's the kicker. Neuroplasticity, small, repeated actions rewire your brain faster and stronger than big, unsustainable bursts. So when I say balance before brilliance, I'm not saying play small. I'm saying build the only foundation that'll actually hold brilliance. And here's how to apply improvement cycles in your own personal wheel of life. 3 strategies. Round it to 5. Bring every slice up to a baseline of 5. No zeros, no 2s. Balance before brilliance. Number 2, rubber band rule. Anytime a slice slips below 5, it snaps your attention back. That's endurance, not ignoring the wobble. And from 5 to 6, pick one slice this month and move it from a 5 to a 6. Not all 8, just 1. That's how balance is built. That's how brilliance becomes sustainable. And so here's the Project U 2.2 challenge of the week. Grab a piece of paper. Let's draw that circle. Divide the circle into 8 slices. Finances, relationships, career, health, personal growth, fun, spiritual life, and environment. Now, rate yourself. And you need to be brutally honest. Where are the 5s? Where are your 2s? What are the 9s? Once you've got it, find the lowest slice. That's your wobble. That's the flat spot that's slowing the whole wheel down. Then run a 7-day improvement cycle on that one slice. Don't try to take it from a 2 to a 10. Just move it from a 2 to a 3. From a 5 to a 6. One step. 7 days. Journal it and notice the change. Because when the wheel starts to roll smoother, everything else starts to move forward with it. This has been Project U 2.2, where we don't quit, we don't coast, and we don't surrender. If you are ready to reclaim your clarity, your confidence, and your endurance, head over to projectu22.org to learn more about one-on-one coaching, couples coaching, and our retreats. And don't forget, every Wednesday at 6:22, my Carrie brings her own powerful perspective for women, faith, and growth. Until next time, stay strong, stay real, and keep living with endurance. See you at 622.